do every June is we hold elections for our officers and members of the board of directors. Fortunately for us this year, I believe, all of the people who were up for re-election have offered to stay on. But in accordance with the rules, I am going to now open up the floor for nominations. So if you would like to nominate yourself for an office, or if you know somebody you would like to nominate, and please make sure you have their permission first, now is the time to say so.
A point of order, Mr. President, you might delineate what offices there are, you know, like.
We have four offices which have one-year terms. That is the office of president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. We also have a total of 5 board members, 3 of which who are up for election this year, and they serve 2-year terms. And we stagger those so that we get, you know, we're not electing the whole board every time. And so that being said, I'd like to go ahead and open up is there anyone interested in placing a name into nomination?
Crickets.
Mr. President.
All I hear is my mom's TV. So.
Yeah, Mr. President, being that there are no responses to that, I would move that the nominations be closed and that the current board of directors be elected by acclamation.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Pardon me? I'll get you one.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor which has been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand.
Everybody raise their hand, hold their hand up to the camera, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't
Looks
know.
pretty unanimous to me.
Okay, having the motion having been made and seconded and voted upon, and as far as I can tell, there were no nays, the motion passes. So the election is now finished.
On behalf of the Q&A staff, may we offer our congratulations to the newly re-elected officers.
Thanks.
Necessary.
Condolences.
Okay, so let's return back to Q&A.
Very good.
John, you might want to close the meeting. Get Tina.
Who would you like to FaceTime with?
We have a nomination to close the meeting, we need to do that.
I saw you move.
Nomination, a move, somebody need to move and second close the meeting?
I saw.
We close the meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All righty.
No.
Thank you very much, and we'll do this again next year.
Okay, so we've got a few questions, and I've put them up on my screen. I'm going to share the screen, and be sure to turn on computer sound just in case. And we will go to here. There we go. You have questions. Okay, these are the questions that I harvested today and previously from the board in the Zoom questions folder that you deposit questions in. This is something that was answered online, but somebody may be interested in this. I have a 2-year-old MacBook Pro, and the keyboard is wonky. I'm in another country. Can I just order a new keyboard and install it? And the answer is absolutely not. You cannot, because the keyboard is integral to the computer. It's all this stuff is glued in, and it's just permanently part of the computer. Apple can replace it, and there were some computers that had keyboards with extended warranties on them, And I believe that this particular one is. However, this person lives in Ecuador. Uh, I guess Social Security goes a lot further down there than it does here, and they use US dollars as currency. So we answered that you may want to just avail yourself of the warranty when you come back to the US, but in the interim, you could use an inexpensive Bluetooth or wired keyboard. Although with the wired keyboard, it may be a problem because there's a USB-C port on the MacBook Pro. So you'd need an expensive adapter there. So the Bluetooth keyboard is really the best solution. And some of them are available for as little as 14, 15 bucks. Another question we have
Rick,
from, pardon me, go ahead.
I was going to say, you can get a USB-C to USB adapter pretty cheap. I've got
Yeah,
one
like-
that I think I
like
paid
10
less
bucks
than
or-
$10 for.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a hassle, but it's not that expensive.
Yeah. Oh, just for a side note here, this person telephoned me from Ecuador and was speaking to me, and apparently they've got T-Mobile allows international calling. But I asked what kind of a modem her cable company gave her. It's a Huawei from China. So I guess Huawei is really making inroads into South America. Okay, so this person says we get emails from our own address, but we didn't send them, and often they have links to click. This happens to some of our friends as well. What should we do? Changing our email addresses presents a very difficult problem. Obviously, somebody got a hold of your address from probably a PC user. John, go.
There's absolutely nothing you can do.
No, I don't think
Somebody harvested, possibly somebody's computer, maybe a Windows computer got compromised and they harvested their address book. And now you're on a list that they're sending spam. Just because it says it came from you, I can send from my computer and put in your name and say it came from you. So that's nor here nor there. That's easy to do. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
So basically, don't click on the links and just delete them. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, and your friends need to know that that you won't be sending them things with links in there.
If you see your friend's name in there somewhere, you might let them know that what's going on, that their computer may have been compromised in their address book. It could be their computer is actually, or their account is hacked and they're sending mail, but it was coming from you. I think online on the BBS, she had a little, clicked on who it was from, and it was from something.edu, totally not her. It just, her name was in the front part of it. It didn't come from her email.
I didn't get a chance to look at the
your own domain,
screenshot that was attached.
Rick.
Question here.
What if you block your own domain?
Well, I have
just-
my
just
own
to-
domain, and as Ann and John can testify, I used to have rick@mactinker.com.
Right.
It got compromised, so I had to change it to macwiz@mactinker.com. I had to abandon it.
For example, on if I want to whitelist something, I can go into the web-based mail, put it in the contacts and whitelist it. But there's also a place if I go to web-based that I can block it. So what if you block your own?
Don't do
Because
that.
you normally don't get emails.
Don't do that. Then you go to try to send yourself a test mail. It's not going to work. You'll forget.
Exactly.
Don't block your own address.
How about if
That
the
would be the
person,
downside of it.
Just delete it. Move on.
Yeah.
People have all these ideas that they're going to do something about all this spam. Push the delete key. That's all you can do.
Could this person just get a different email?
Yeah, but that's a pain. She could change her email address, but that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And you have to go change everywhere you have logins for all your stuff and everything.
And then she said changing our email addresses presents a very difficult problem. And
Just
it would.
delete the mail.
All your subscriptions, all of your logins, all of that stuff just would be insurmountable. Okay.
If you had your own domain and your own control panel like Rick has on Ann's server, you could go in and find out where the email actually came from, what IP address, and block that IP address. If it only helps if you get multiple ones from that address. Usually they're random. They're coming from all over the place, so that doesn't really help either.
Yeah.
Only helps them you get continually get over a period of time email from the same server. Then you can block that server. I do that every morning on ANSERVER. I go in and block a couple of servers that send sometimes 2, 3, 10, 20 emails to different domains on her server. They harvested email address somewhere, and all these emails come in from the same IP address. Sometimes it's in Russia, sometimes it's in South America, China, Vietnam. I just block them, and then they don't hear from them again. But you got to be able to access to your, control panel on your server and identify the IP address it's coming from. Probably not something she's going to do.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Next question. I shortened it a little bit, but I think we kept the flavor of it. Can someone explain how notifications works? Either I get deluged with them, or if I take steps to curtail them, then I get none. I did find a link. Can you see my arrow here?
Yeah.
You can? Okay, this is a link. And you may want to take a little screenshot of that if you're able. And that's the Apple support article on notifications.
Notifications are not reminders that are in your calendar. Notifications come from other third-party apps and Apple apps.
Websites
I
also.
think Carol wanted to know about getting reminders about things that are in your calendar, like it's time to go to the DVMUG meeting, it's time to go here, it's time for this. Those are alerts in your calendar that you set per each item.
So if you go to System Preferences and into Notifications, which is a system preference pane, there will be a list of applications or websites that you have allowed to give you notifications. So you can go in there and tweak it to say, none, or I want this to be a persistent notification or whatever. There's different options. You can go play around with it.
Okay.
Carol, do I understand the question right? These are items that are in your calendar that you want to be reminded of?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not notifications. Those are controlled by the calendar. That is not notifications.
So how do I control that?
In the calendar preferences, you can set the general preference for any time you make a new item when I want to be reminded 3 hours before this or 2 days, and that's for every new item you make. If you set it to none, then every time you make a new item, you have to set it individually for that item when to remind you. All the previous items you made in your calendar, you'll have to adjust manually.
Which is probably what you want to do, Carol, is adjust it manually.
Oh, okay.
And if it's a reoccurring item, say every weekly or monthly or bi-monthly, you can say, okay, it's every Monday every third Monday of the month, there's a DVMUG meeting and I want to be reminded 3 hours before, and then it'll do that forever.
Okay.
In each
Is there some kind of default?
Yes, in preferences, in calendar preferences.
Because anytime I did a new event, like a new, I moved my student schedule and I do all my students maybe on different days. And I used to get notifications. I would get all these notifications.
Yes. No, Carol.
And then I did something and I get nothing.
Okay. Go to your calendar preferences, and there's a preference in there for when you make a new item, when to be notified. And anytime you make a new item, you'll get that. You could say 3 hours in advance or 3 days in advance, and every time you make a new item, it'll set it to that. If you have it set to none, you'll never get any notifications unless you manually do it each item as you make it.
If instead of
Okay.
having the list, if instead of having the list up, you shared your screen, you could show her. You could show her the preference.
Yeah.
Rick's currently showing the screen.
Okay.
Rick, if you can leave Keynote, you can share the screen and show her this.
I know what you mean. I couldn't tell if I'm supposed to go into system preferences.
No.
Or
You're
calendar.
only talking about the calendar, okay?
Yeah.
In calendar preferences, that's where you set what happens.
Right.
Did you want me
Alerts.
to
It's
do something in
calendar
preferences,
Calendar
Dan?
preferences alerts. Events, you can set it to when you want events, when you want all-day events, and when you want birthdays. There's 3 things you can set defaults for.
Okay. All right. So
That's for new items. All your existing items, you'll have to control manually. This won't control all the stuff that's previously been made. For those, each item, you open it up and set it manually.
All right.
Carol, if you go to the system preferences in calendar, just click on the alerts tile at the top and you'll see all the settings right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I went there today and
And you'll see the default settings.
okay.
I'm
Okay,
looking for calendar.
Does it take a while for that to kick in and
No, it's immediate.
As soon as you close it, it'll kick in.
Okay.
Okay. Play with it, Carol. Don't be afraid. You're not going to break it. The only way you're going to break anything by pushing buttons on your computer is if you try to push the buttons with a hammer.
Or an axe.
Wow.
We got another question if we're done with that one, and that is, when I put my Mac to sleep, it goes black with a white bar.
Rick, that is a white bar and a white apple. It would allow me to do nothing with my computer.
Something is happening to your audio. It sounds like there's a machine gun going.
Our drummer.
Let go of the keyboard.
Yeah,
If you're putting your computer to sleep and the screen's not going black, it's not going to sleep.
It does go black. It
What's
goes
this white
black with
bar
a
thing?
white bar.
Okay, white bar is not a black screen.
Well, that's true.
If you have a white bar on the screen, there's something else going on. It didn't go to sleep.
Does it wake up when you touch a key?
So, Rick, when you go into the Keynote for Q&A, I have no way of seeing who's talking in the background to mute them. And
Okay.
it's a little awkward for management.
Okay, there you go. I stopped sharing. So I have my Keynote up on my iPad so I can still see the questions and stuff.
I would try an SMC reset.
Have you restarted the computer?
So Anne, for doing that, let me show you. If you have a 2-screen setup, you can do this. You can have the participant menu on the other screen, and then whatever's going on the main screen won't obscure anything. Makes it a much better way to manage muting and stuff like that.
I can do that with my iPad or my MacBook Air, maybe, if I log into another account. That's good. Thank you.
Is the person that has this sleep problem here?
It's Russ.
Are you here?
He's there. He's trying to talk. I asked him to unmute.
Unmute yourself so we can ask you something.
Russ, hold your space bar down to talk.
I think he was holding the space bar down, which is what made that sound.
Oh.
Unmute him.
I'm unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you restarted your computer lately?
Yeah, this was several days ago. It only happened once. Everything black except white bar, white apple would let me do nothing. I could not stop the computer. I could not get out of it. I went to escape. Then I added escape, control, option, command, tried them all, and just suddenly it opened up, and I've had no trouble since. I can't figure
Move
out
on.
what happened.
Next question.
Yeah. You may want to reset the NVRAM on your next startup, Russ. Hold down the Option, Command, the P, and the R key. Hold it down. If your Mac doesn't chime, hold it down till the apple appears twice. If it does chime, hold it down until it chimes 2 times.
Have you
then
restarted your
release the key.
computer?
Excuse me, what?
Have you restarted the computer?
Oh, since then, yes. No
Okay.
problem.
Whenever you have something that's irregular, restart the computer.
Yeah.
Except at that point, it wouldn't let me do that. I finally escaped, and since then, no problems. I just couldn't figure out why that did it. So I'll try that Option, Command, P, and R.
That's correct. We used to call that zapping the PRAM. Now they call it resetting the NVRAM.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. The last question I have, it was really not posed by anybody, so why don't we open the floor first and see if anybody else has got any questions? Nobody?
No, I'm
Yes.
Chuck Sanderson.
Ken,
Uh,
I have a question.
Okay.
In the notifications, when you're in that messages, notifications, whatever, you've got 3 little things. One is lock screen, notification center, and banners. I'm at a loss as to know which one I should use, just so that I get on the face of my phone when a message comes in, if that's the case, something comes up on the screen and a sound.
Lock screen means when your phone screen is locked, the notifications still come through the lock screen.
So you want that on, right?
You can have it any way you want. You can turn them all off, turn them all on. It's
I
totally
understand,
adjustable.
but I'm just trying to figure out what's kind of going to be the norm, if you will.
Normal is don't change anything. It comes normal. If you want it to be different, then you change it.
Well, that doesn't
Well,
help.
when you open it up and you see all the settings in there, that's normal, whatever it's set to. That's not the question.
It's your preference. It's strictly your preference. Try them all. See which one you like. You know, some people like liverwurst, other people like bologna. It's just try it and see what you like.
If you want to see,
if someone
if you
could
want to,
explain to me,
if you want to
Never
see the
mind.
notification when the phone is locked, then you need to have lock screen on. If you want a banner to come up always, you choose the banner, which is the the visual pop up, and the sound is the sound. So
what about the
you can have them all or
notification?
any combination.
Thank you. In the middle, there's one called Notification Center.
you would have to go look for the notification inside the notification center. So it's less obvious, not as in your face.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you.
Sure. Ken, you've got your hand up.
I do. Let me put it down here, lower hand. Okay. So I have found that for a while now, I am, whoops, I guess whatever, I'll do that later. I find that my time machine backup fails on a regular basis these days, every couple of weeks. I see, and what seems to restore it is what gets it going again is restarting the computer. But I have no idea whether there's some. I can see my my smart warnings from that external drive that I'm using because I use Drive DX with the extension you need to be able to see smart warnings from an external drive, which works pretty well. So there are no smart warnings from that drive. It's a new drive. It's an 8 terabyte drive that it's about half full. But this keeps happening, and I'm cool with just restarting the Mac when this happens, but I have no idea whether there's damage in that time machine. backup. Any thoughts?
Oh,
This is a subject near and dear to our heart. It's happening to our Office Mini. Go ahead, John, explain what you have to, the voodoo you have to do to make it work.
And I think he has a different problem because he restarts the computer and it starts to work again, right?
Yes, and the other day, after it failed, some hours later, it was running again by itself without
That's
restarting.
a different problem we have at the office is I log in remotely to the computer and it says the computer was restarted because there was a crash. And Time Machine is not working. It says it failed. I Googled around and find out this is only supposed to happen on laptops. If you don't have your Time Machine drive connected and you're on the road mobile, it starts backing up to your local hard drive. It's called local Time Machine. And that's what's happening to our Mini, even though it's not a mobile computer, laptop. And it seemed to me it was happening when there was these security updates or Catalina update. And the next time you restarted, you would have this problem. And you'd have to go into terminal and delete the local backups, and that would fix it. It would stop crashing and it would start backing up again. The other day it did it without doing that. And now it's been working for a week again. So I know what the problem is. I know how to fix it, but I don't know why it's happening. But that's different than what's happening to you.
Yeah, mine is also a Mini, a late 2012 Mini, which runs great except in general. But is there any way to verify the backups in Time Machine?
I believe there is. Google it. There's a way to verify.
Okay.
You actually can run Disk Warrior on it. It'll take a long time though.
Mostly what I tell people is your Time Machine is not working or has some kind of error, just erase it and start over. That fixes it. But then you lose all your old backups.
I have mine just unmount by itself from time to time. And it's a self-powered drive.
Mm-hmm.
something niggling in the back of my mind says that if you run into that and you have to get rid of your old Time Machine backup, that there's a way to adopt it into a new drive, isn't there?
Yeah, you just drag the folder over to the new drive, but it can
Yeah.
take days to do it.
Yeah, well,
You
yeah.
could, it used to be in older machines, Carbon Copy Cloner and what's the other one?
Super Duper.
Super Duper.
They wouldn't, you could clone a Time Machine, but it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You had to use disk utility and use the restore function to do it to a disk image and then restore it. I did that and it worked. I think that's changed now. I've heard you can just drag copy, like Ken said, the folder over. But I'm not. Usually when I have a problem with Time Machine, I just erase it and start over.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do.
It fixes all problems.
Chuck has his hand up. He's had it up a long time.
Yeah, it's getting out. John Sobrero nicely helped me take my wife's MacBook Pro and clean it up and do all the kinds of good things associated with it, and works like a champ. The only problem is I have to go back to the Apple Store, I think, in order to get her name off of the unit so that I can be the sole owner of it.
No.
And I believe that that's the process I have to go through, John, in order to.
No. So is she the only user on there now?
No. She's got her own
But on the computer that you want to deal with, is there only one user and it's her?
The user, or I've got the administrator role. You helped set that up last time you came to our house and cleaned up the whole unit. But I can't get it back to a point, like for instance, I have an update for an application. It won't allow me to update that application unless I put in her name and her password.
You can't fix that. That app was bought on her name, on her Apple ID. It's owned by her. If it's a free app, you should just delete it and rebuy it, repurchase it for free in your user. It's tied to the Apple ID. There's nothing Apple can do about that.
Okay, I understand. And I thought that was the answer. But
yeah, no, that's...
The next question I have is that we got to a point where we had to have a new iPhone. And so we bought the latest levels of iPhones. You still there?
Yeah.
Yes.
And basically, we take a lot of trips, and so therefore we have something like 40,000 pictures in the cloud. And basically, the problem is with the two new iPhones, which were used to be sharing in the cloud, that particular file or space, I can't now get hers to mine or mine to hers. And I just don't know. We had this done by the Verizon shop. That,
Verizon has no idea how to deal with it.
yeah, I don't know either. And I don't know how to get. It was working fine before we got the new phones, and now I can't get to the file. That
So if you want to share the photos between the two phones, they both need to be logged into the same Apple ID.
Okay.
There's no way to share your photos. The photos library sharing works between Apple IDs from the iPad to the phone to the Mac on one Apple ID.
Okay.
So if you're taking photos on two phones under two Apple IDs, you could do album sharing and other things. There's no way you're going to share 40,000 photos from one iPhoto library between two Apple IDs. That's not going to happen.
Okay, I thought that.
Here's an idea. I got an idea. Do you guys have a Gmail account?
Yes, we do. Well, I have an AOL account right now, but she has umpteen accounts. And
Oh. What I was thinking was that if you took advantage of Google's offer to give you free storage of all your photos, you could just synchronize your photos into your Gmail, your Google Drive, and that's free, unlimited photo storage,
Yeah,
unless you shoot RAW. Unless you
still
shoot
have-
RAW.
You'd still have you'd have to
They
share
could
one
both use
Google
the same
account.
Gmail. They could both
Yeah,
use the
that's-
same Gmail address.
That's possible,
So
I guess.
we could set up a
What about-
Google, and then I'd have to move everything that I have in my current AOL account into that.
No,
We'd
no,
have to-
you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You each could use this, have one Gmail account that you'd use for this, and
Okay.
then link it to your photos on each of your computers.
Okay.
And the photos would automatically upload to the cloud where they would be stored. And so then you have access to them both, as far as I can tell.
Well,
If
let
I'm
me-
wrong, somebody say so.
That sounds like a hell of an idea. Thank you.
What about Apple? What about I put a link in there. Apple Family Sharing. Does anybody know about that?
Well,
Family sharing doesn't share your photo library.
But it does share a family photo album library. So you could move everything into the shared family album.
Well, that's what we had before, and it worked. You're right. That's how we had it before, but with the advent of the new iPhones, which are great to use and what have you that nature, but and we want to travel and we want to have those common capabilities of getting to the.
Take a look at the link Kenji put in the chat.
Okay.
It's the last link. It goes to apple.com/family-sharing.
Okay.
And you might find a solution by using the family album.
Thank you. I'll try both.
Arlene has been very patient. Her hand has probably gone to sleep by now.
I just needed to check and see
Let's see if I can even remember this. I didn't have it.
Just a minute, Arlene. Dan, would you mute yourself? Mute your mic.
Who is it?
Dan, if you're on the phone, mute your mic.
Dan Baker? Yeah.
Dan Baker.
Muted.
Just mute yourself.
He's muted.
He's muted, Rick.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Arlene.
Let's see if I can remember this. I wasn't prepared and didn't plan to ask this question, but I've been having a problem. When I try to shut down my computer, instead of shutting down, it goes to a black screen with that little pointer up in the corner, just as it does when I try to install the latest security update. which requires that you restart your computer, and it won't restart. It just goes to a black screen with that little pointer up in the corner. I end up having to actually hard turn it off with the on-off button if I want to restart it.
Arlene, how long are you waiting?
Well, I've had it run all night sometimes with my.
Okay.
Have you tried quitting all your apps before you shut down?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nothing's running.
I have this one security update that it just will not do, and it takes me to this black screen with a pointer, and it just can't do anything. I can sometimes get out of that, but
installation of the latest security update for me it was a bit of a challenge too, because I wasn't sure if it was really working or not, because it would go black and then it'd start up and then it'd go black and stay black for quite a while. I almost shut it down and I thought, I can't do that. So I walked away from it and came back, and it was functioning, but it took quite a while for my machines.
I thought that too, so I let it run all night. It still didn't work.
Yeah, all night should be sufficient, yeah.
Yeah, I had a black screen with a little pointer in the corner.
When you say a pointer, what do you mean? Do you mean the cursor, or the little star thing, like the little time thing?
Tiny little white cursor up in the corner.
Okay, so shut your computer down, whatever it takes, push the power button, have it go off, start it up, and immediately do the security update. Immediately.
Yeah.
Don't start any other programs or do anything else.
Immediately do what? What did you say, John?
Shut the computer down so it's completely off. Whatever that takes, push the power button, hold it, have it go off. Start it up and go and check for updates. If there's a security update, do it immediately. Do not start any other programs and see what happens. It should give it its best chance and just leave it. It should do it.
I may have tried that already, but I'll try it again. But I don't understand what the relationship is with that than just trying to turn off my computer and not having it shut down.
There's something going on with your computer that's not letting it shut down. There's something running in the background.
Yeah.
It's probably that update, huh?
No, you have some other cruft running in the background. You have some other program that's not shutting down.
VMware maybe, or Parallels. You use Parallels, right?
Yeah.
That might be it. Does that start up automatically when you start your machine?
No.
Is there anything that starts up automatically when you start your machine?
Yes. There's something that I don't even have anymore, and I don't know how to get rid of it. It's Parallels Access.
There you go. That's it.
That's probably it.
Okay.
Go to your system preferences, go to users and groups, put in your password, and delete that from login items.
Okay.
You need to get rid of the Parallels running in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing you do is shut your computer down, whatever it takes, hold the shift key down, start it up. That will disable all extensions so nothing loads in the background.
Okay.
Then you should be able to run your update and restart. It will be loading no extensions, including Apple video drivers or anything. Your video may be a little wonky, or some other things may not quite work right. It'll say safe mode. That'll give you your best chance to get your security update in there.
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys.
But you probably got to get rid of that whatever's running in the background to be able to shut down when you're running normally.
Yeah, I've tried to get rid of it, and I haven't been able to do that. But I'll keep working on that.
You know, speaking of Parallels, at the meeting last week, one of you said that you can update Windows 7 to Windows 10 still for free. Yeah. And that was completely a surprise to me. And I went and crossed my fingers and tried to update the Windows 7 that I have in a Parallels virtual machine on my Mac. And to my amazement, it went perfect.
Really?
And I ended up with Windows 10 Pro.
Yeah, they never turned off the switch. They said they did, but they never did.
So once it's done, it's good forever. Your
Yeah.
Parallels is authorized for the rest of your life to run Windows 10.
Yeah. And it never
Even if
asks
you
for
have to
any kind of
remove it and
authorization
reinstall
or
it,
anything.
it's automatically
Yep.
good to go.
You
Cool.
guys are going to be happy to hear, but I think I have finally worked on something during this pandemic that has allowed me to probably get rid of my old Bento, so that maybe now I can upgrade to Mojave. I don't want to go more than that now, but maybe Mojave when things settle down and we can get back together and do that.
So what did you replace Bento with?
I just made it was only one form that I was still using in Bento. And I kind of developed one of my own, and it's not working. It's not as nice and working as well, but it works for me. So I think I can finally get rid of Bento, which has been what's kept me back at High Sierra for a long time.
Yeah. If it's just a form, it's just absolutely gobsmacking amazing what you can do with Pages. You know, you can create a form in Pages and save it as one of your templates, and every time you want it, just bring it up. It's
Yeah, this
just,
one is kind of numbers, actually, because it's more of a kind of a database, but I
yeah.
change it every couple of
Well,
weeks.
we may have something coming up in the discussion later about a replacement for Bento.
Oh,
Cool.
Maybe.
You never say those things about Word.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm sorry, I never would. Now, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I would have about WordPerfect, but not Word.
That was the best word process.
Oh, it was wonderful.
It
Just
really
wonderful.
was.
So, anyway,
Can I ask a question about Wordperfect and Word? My sister is an attorney, and she just grew up as an attorney with Wordperfect.
yes,
now
a lot of attorneys use WordPerfect.
Well, now she's got to switch over to Word, and she can't, if she even copies and pastes a little piece of text from Word into WordPerfect, it corrupts the file and it's gone. It's awful. There's no compatibility. And I just wondered if anybody knows of anything that can open the old WordPerfect document.
LibreOffice.
Yeah.
There's also a WordPerfect reader as well. I'll
LibreOffice will
have
open. LibreOffice will open any word processing
Will it keep the
application
formatting?
any
Is it
ever made,
formatting?
including WordPerfect for DOS. It'll open anything.
You should
Wow.
try it. You'll be amazed.
And it's free.
And,
Yeah,
Ken, you had a suggestion about WordPerfect Reader?
Yeah, it's called WordPerfect Viewer.
Say that again.
WordPerfect Viewer.
Viewer, okay.
I'll post it, and if I can't find a link to it, I'll just put it up.
Okay. Now, yeah, LibreOffice will open anything. I've seen it even open the old Star writer and Wang word processing documents.
And right now.
And right now.
Yeah,
and
then once you get them open, then you can.
Formatting, no? Does it preserve the formatting?
Should.
It should come close. It's not necessarily going to be perfect, but you should be able to clean it up if it doesn't.
It's going to do a lot better job of it than Word.
Yeah. And also a hint to your sister, never work from an original, always work from a copy.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a danger of losing an important file, make a copy of it first and then work from the copy. Is she a Mac person or a Windows person?
Windows.
Yeah, because WordPerfect still exists for Windows, but it's Roxio behind it, or the people who bought Roxio, thorough bastards. I hate them. But anyway, yeah, LibreOffice will open anything.
Okay, she's concerned about formatting. You know, she's an attorney, and some of her documents are 60, 80 pages long, and a lot of very complicated formatting, you know, paragraphs and sub-paragraphs and sub-sub-paragraphs and, you know, that sort of thing.
Well, she could buy a new copy of WordPerfect.
Yeah, well, if she's that ingrained in it, get WordPerfect.
Well, her office is all, everybody's using Word. I'll have to ask her again. I didn't know there was
Do a save as Word. Do a save as .docx. I'm sure WordPerfect supports that. Then they'll never need to know that she is not using Word.
I just checked WordPerfect viewer is 64-bit too, so it should work in Catalina.
Yeah, she's a Windows person.
Windows. Yeah.
She's on Windows. So.
Windows. Okay, so anything else for the good of the order?
I have some Bluetooth earbuds and I can't get my iPad to connect with them. They connect with my phone and, you know, I turn them on.
You have to disconnect from your phone in order to connect with the iPad.
Oh.
Yeah.
They only can be connected to one device.
Fine. Yeah.
Oh.
They're not Apple AirPods.
No, they're.
Then you have to put them into some kind of pairing mode. You push something on the buds, and then they go into pairing mode where they're discoverable.
The directions just say turn on your device and turn on your earbuds, and the device will find it. But
well, if it's already connected to something else, it's not going to find it on the. It's got to be.
I think that might be the problem then.
One at a time.
The easiest thing is just turn off Bluetooth on the undesirable device.
Yeah,
and then turn it on the other one.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
disconnect, of course.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
I'll try that.
Okay, can we go back to screen sharing?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to screen sharing here. And there we go. Here we go. Here we go. And go down one. So sometimes people like to look at things from YouTube, not YouTube TV, but YouTube itself. And something I read the other day, that if you're watching something with commercials, that this may work. It's called the dot glitch. And if you implement and add a dot after the word com, so you would have youtube.com/watch, whatever it is, that may eliminate the commercials.
Wow.
And it also will work with iPhones and iPads. But it is an error, apparently, in somebody's programming. And I have no idea how long it's going to last. But you can see on the where the red arrow is an example of the dot following the com.com. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, I'm not a big, I subscribe to YouTube TV, but I don't do a lot on YouTube itself, so I haven't had a chance to check that out. But from what I read, it was from a reputable source that will work. Okay? Adobe Flash. I can't tell you how many people still talk to me about Flash and the updates and so forth. Get rid of it. It is poison. Just go and delete it. However, when you delete it, be sure that you use the uninstaller. Where's the uninstaller, John? It's in utilities, right?
It's in your utilities folder. You need to run the uninstaller. You can't get rid of it by just going to something that you see. I don't know where you would see it to throw it away. It's not in your applications folder. It's a plugin to your browser.
Yeah. So it's going to be obsolete soon. Adobe keeps saying they're going to get rid of it. And if you find a web page that doesn't work on Safari or any of the other browsers, you will always be able to see Flash content if you use the Chrome browser.
Rick,
Yeah.
Adobe said they were going to actually get rid of it or December 31st this year.
Is that right?
Flash is going, yeah, I think it like last week. December 31st, it's done.
Good.
So what uninstaller are you talking about? Are you talking about the Adobe Air uninstaller?
No, Adobe Flash Player. The
In the
plugin in
utility
your
folder?
browser.
Oh, in your browser.
Uninstall it. If you have Flash installed, you go to your utilities folder and you will see Adobe Flash something installer manager or something like that. And you run that and it uninstalls it from your computer, all the parts.
And do a restart,
Yes, always do a restart. Thank you, Ken.
because it'll pull the plugins.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really terrible software, and it's just riddled with security flaws. But Chrome has found a way to get around that using its own embedded, I don't know if I want to say version of Flash, but they found a way to decode Flash.
But they're getting rid of it too. The end
They're
of
getting rid of it too.
the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. But by the time Adobe gets rid of it, it'll be considered an antique. Nobody else is going to be using it for any reason at all. Okay, next.
There are still plenty of sites that depend on it. That if you don't have it, won't run.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But that's why I say use Chrome if you have to go to those sites.
Yep.
Fortunately, I don't go to very many that require it, but if I do, I just use Chrome.
I haven't had it for 2 years and have run into zero problems, except for mini-put.
I'm sorry, Ken, you weren't intelligible.
Oh, I haven't used Flash for about 2 years, and I've only run into one website that I couldn't see.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of the news sites still use it, but they're diminishing. Less and less of them. We mentioned Bento a little while ago. And again, this is something I haven't yet tested, but this new Symphytum or Symphytum is out and it's free. It's from GitHub. And you can download it. It's open source, powered by SQL. It's cross-platform, Mac, Windows, and Linux. It can synchronize through different cloud sources like Dropbox and Mega. And I've downloaded it to my Mac, but I haven't really had a chance to play with it. So Arlene, you may want to try playing with that as a little database. I'd reiterate, I wish that FileMaker Pro would come out with FileMaker Pro Junior or something that is usable by most users instead of the corporate people.
Do you think it will, what do you want to say, update a Bento?
No.
Something I use?
No.
You can't convert it. Okay.
No, there's not going to be any
I don't know how to set up the one that I use. Somebody else set it
I
up.
bet you $1 to a donut that you can't convert it. However, there may be a way for you to export your data and then import your data into that.
Okay.
If it's I'm not an SQL person like Chris Wysocki is. Incidentally, Chris, did you know that there's a mayor in New Jersey whose name is Wysocki?
In New Jersey, no. But I saw on local news there was a Joseph Wysocki who was some head police guy or something.
Yeah, well, there's a mayor in
Spelling.
In where?
Same spelling.
Yeah, oh yeah, same spelling. I can't remember the name of the town though. It was a big town in New Jersey. So anyway,
so let me ask you a question here. So I always find the GitHub pages kind of confusing about, like, I'm looking at it here and it's hard on first glance to tell what you download.
You would download whichever one is for your particular operating system. I think there's one for Windows, one for Mac, one for Linux. And I think there was a 32-bit one too, wasn't there? I don't remember. Do you see the choices?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, maybe after we're done with this presentation thing, we can get into it and look around at it. And the last thing that we have is, now I don't do social stuff at all, but I understand that a big beef has been that you cannot upload photos to Instagram from your Mac. And there is a way to do that. And it's this way. Note at the top of this is the URL for this particular video. When I post this to the bulletin board, if anybody, maybe I should ask, does anybody find any usefulness in my posting these to the bulletin board?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. That's one. Well, I can go ahead and remove the embedded video and just leave the URL there. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, here he is talking about sending pictures to social. Here we go.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today, let me show you how to post a photo to Instagram using your Mac. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So posting to Instagram on your phone is easy. You just go to the Instagram app and then you can take a picture or select one from your library and post it. You can also do it from the Photos app on your iPhone. You can share to Instagram. But on your Mac it's a little more difficult. There used to be third-party apps that allowed you to upload directly to Instagram, but they don't work anymore because Instagram doesn't support those. You can also use some expensive scheduling tools that social media experts use. But you think you could just do it directly Instagram, right? I mean, here I am at my Instagram account and there should be a way for me to upload a photo. It would be an easy button to find here, but it's not here. It just doesn't exist. There's no way to do it. I can view my account, I can view other people's photos, but I can't upload a new one from my Mac. That's especially annoying if you're editing images, adding text to them, doing various things on your Mac. In order to get them to Instagram, you have to save them out to your photo library, then go to your iPhone and then upload them from there. But there is a way to do it here on your Mac using Safari. You have to trick Instagram into thinking your Mac's an iPhone. The way to do this is to go to Safari and then Preferences and then go to Advanced. Then click Show Develop menu in Menu Bar. So this is a special menu of developer commands. If you're not a developer, you really don't need this. But there is one thing here that will help us. If you go to User Agent, the User Agent is a little piece of text that your browser sends to the server to tell it what type of browser it is. In this case, it's the default, which is Safari for Mac 13.1. But I could change that and say, no, tell the servers that I'm actually an iPhone. If you change that to iPhone, then this will reload and Instagram's website thinks you're an iPhone. So it gives you the iPhone version of the website. And notice what you get. At the bottom you get the plus button there and you can click that to then select an image, just any file, and upload that to Instagram. I'll do that for this image here. And you can see it doesn't look super pretty here. It fills the screen. It kind of looks a little better if I shrink the browser window to be kind of the format of an iPhone. So something like that. And now it looks a little bit more like we're used to. Now you can go to Filter here and add a filter to it if you wanted to. You can go to Edit here. You can click Next and then you could write a caption. You could add a location if you want. You could tag people and then you could hit Share and it will share it out. And then when you're done you could just go to Develop, go to User Agent, switch back to Default. It'll reload the page. I can stretch it back here and I could see Instagram as you normally would see it in your browser on your Mac. Now also I should add, if you want to upload it from your photo library, you can click that same button there, and then on the left side you should see under Media your photos. Click that and it should give you access to your photo library. So you can look at albums and different parts of your photo library and double click to select a photo from there and then upload it without having to create a file first. So that's really all there is to it. It's pretty quick and straightforward. It's just a couple quick extra steps, takes a few more seconds, and it's much more convenient sometimes to upload a photo from your Mac than it is to transfer it to your iPhone first. I publish new tutorials every weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Then hit the little bell icon to get notifications for each new tutorial.
Okay, we get back to Zoom here. And turn off Keynote.
So a little note about Instagram. I was uploading DVMUG pictures, and it's real annoying that it makes the images square. So you have, modern cameras take big pictures. It makes them square. So the only way you can make them normal width is to limit them to 1080 pixels wide. If they're wider than 1080, it makes them square. So just so you know.
I've never seen Instagram, so I don't know anything about it. All I know is I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I mean, I was having the same problem. I didn't know that you could do it by this trick, so I haven't been posting any because we haven't had any meetings, but I was taking pictures of the meetings, posting them on Instagram, and I'd have to take the photo, email it to myself, put it in Photos on my phone, and then because you could only do, I was doing it with the Instagram app, not the Safari browser.
Yeah.
So there's no Instagram app on the Mac, and like you said, you go to the website and there's on the Mac and there's no upload button. So now I know you can do that.
I just remembered a question. Could I throw it out?
Sure.
I noticed that I have an iPhone 11, and in the Photos app, it seems that whenever I open the photo app, it's always set to 4:3, and I'll set it to 16 by 9, and it'll widen out. The next time I open it, it's back to 4:3. And also, if you notice, my Zoom window here is also 4:3, and I see Jerry's is too. And I don't see it. There's no setting in the Zoom app to control that.
My Zoom app is 16 by 9.
You have the iPhone in vertical mode or horizontal mode?
I'm in horizontal mode.
Yeah, you are in 4:3.
Here is vertical, and here is.
I'm in 16:9. Ann and John are. Ken Cooper is. Peter
yeah, but I'm on a
Weiler
Mac. He's on a.
Oh, you're not on a Mac.
No, my Mac is for the display, but my connectivity is through my iPhone.
Okay.
And it seems like the Zoom app reverts to whatever the photo app maybe is set at, and the photo app always seems to revert to 4:3.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're in 4:3. Jerry Carlton's in 4:3.
That's it.
Let me look on the second page. Yeah, I can't tell about Bill Goldberg. He's a ghost. Yeah, that's everybody else is in 16:9, Ken.
Yeah. Is anybody on a phone?
What makes
Mine
it different?
That says 16:9 or ratio.
Yeah.
You're vertical though. Turn it horizontal. Do you make it widescreen?
No.
You're vertical. Bill's vertical.
That just Jerry just turned his whole self.
It didn't.
Try turning it the other way.
That didn't help.
No, you must have lock screen on.
Yeah,
No.
you could do a Fred Astaire and turn it upside down too. Yeah, dance on the ceiling. Yeah, you may have lock screen.
I would say go to Google and ask, why is my Zoom 4:3 and horizontal on the iPhone?
Yeah, I've done that. I haven't gotten
Nobody
an answer. I
mentioned
actually
that.
know there's a guy at a meeting that I go to who actually works at Zoom now. I should try to get, he's in sales or something, in business, but he might have access. One thing about Zoom is it doesn't seem like you can get answers from them.
I'm using a MacBook, not an iPhone.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I am bringing up Symphytum, and it takes me to homeopathic medicine. So I'm going to put plus GitHub and see what it brings me. Yeah, here we go. So I can share this, I think. Nope, no, wrong one. Oh, here's a YouTube on Symphytum.
Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kauf and I'm the nerd on the street, and today we're taking a look.
Does anybody want to look at a little YouTube it's 22 minutes long. Forget it. There is a YouTube video on Symphytum though. It's 22 minutes long, and you can go to YouTube and just type in Symphytum. Symphytum. Let's see what else there is here. There's a review.
So on that GitHub page, they show pictures, and it looks very nice. Looks like similar to
Bento.
To Bento. Thank you, Bento.
Yeah, I'm going to share this screen with you guys if I can. Here we go. This is the Symphytum. It's been reviewed by 10 people.
Yeah, don't download it from Mac Update. It might be wrapped in some extra
Yeah,
crap.
be very careful there. Get it from the GitHub. What's new in it? 10 reviews. It's a wonderful little app. Works great for me. New version available February of 20. And yeah, here's the address in it for GitHub.
Usually at the top of the Mac Update window, it has a
I
link
just
to the
put that in
developer
chat.
site.
You put it in chat? Okay.
Scroll this window to the top.
There you
See
go.
go up about 2 inches. See the developer site, developer website, down an inch. No, down there. That's safe. That takes you out of Mac Update to the
Yeah,
developer
there it
site.
is.
That's
Yeah, this was what I was looking for. Here's the downloads. There's Windows installer and a portable zip archive. Here's the Mac OS installer and the Linux installers.
click the link for developer website and go to the site.
I'm there. So
No, you aren't. You're still on Mac Update.
No,
Click where it says developer website. Down an inch.
I'm at GitHub, John.
No, you're not. You're on Mac Update.
That's not what we can see, Rick.
I see the Mac Update website.
Whoop. So here, let's share screen again. I see. Okay, share the screen. Come on.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, this is GitHub. And here are the downloads. There's Windows, the installer, and an archive of the installer.
Oh,
Mac
okay.
OS, and the various Linux, Ubuntu-based, Arch Linux-based, the image, and I'm not sure what Snap is.
Oh, I see. I thought looking at that was just a tutorial. That was like a manual.
Yeah, those are the links.
You're on table of contents. That's not the download page. That's just table of contents to the help pages. Mac
Okay.
OS
No,
help.
actually, that is the page because there it is.
It is the page. There's the
download.
To the download. Symphytum 2.6 disk image.
Nice.
So it may be something to, if you don't have anything to do during the quarantine, play around with it. but I think it's a trustworthy site. Here's here's how you build a database. This little video going on here. I'm not sure what we're seeing, but you just move stuff around. It looks pretty simple.
Yeah, it was pretty bento-like.
Yeah. So fields are not just text. So images, lists, checkboxes, combo boxes, two views on the same data, that's useful. You could probably get a list view and then your pretty little database. Layout adjusted by dragging and dropping, integrated cloud synchronization, conflict management. It manages synchronization conflicts, date reminders, fast search, backup, and export, so you can export your data. A multilingual user. Now I wonder if it will import. It's written in C++ for Windows, and
So Symptom app cannot be opened because developer cannot be verified.
just hold the control key down.
Just hold down the
Option key, isn't it?
Control, I think.
Hold the control key and open it, and it'll have you have a button that'll say open. It'll bypass that.
Okay. Oh yes, now there's an open choice.
So I've stopped screen sharing there.
In the table of contents, I saw a build from source link. Maybe there is a way to import stuff.
Probably. I've never seen a database that wouldn't import in some way, shape, or form.
The build from source is a way for you to compile it yourself. You run like the meg file and it compiles and builds the binary, and that's what you run. So
it's open
if you
source.
download a DMG, you don't need to. Yeah, it's open source. You got access to all the
source, so
source
you
code.
can take what they have and do what you want with it and make a new version, add things to it.
You have to be pretty good at C++, I'm sure.
Cool.
Well, that's the end of my presentation. I don't have anything else. I thought we were going to, maybe get into some other discussions tonight. Just a reminder that dues reminder letters went out on the 15th. I've already received a response from a couple of people already who've renewed, so that we're grateful for that. But on the 1st, we will be sending out email reminders. That saves us 55 cents postage on each one, and my time for printing them, stuffing the envelopes, and all the other stuff that goes hand in hand with that. But you can save money if you respond to the email notices that we send out first.
Although I want to point out, Rick, I never received an email. I didn't get notified until I got a letter in the mail.
Is that right?
Yeah, Rick, I don't recall receiving a reminder either. That's why I didn't renew until I got your letter.
Well, we may be back to the same old problem. I'm down to, we had a problem where I was sending out the notices in one email from the bulletin board from another username from membership department. And first class was cutting off everybody after the first 6. So I've now been sending out multiple emails with 6 people in each one. I wonder if it's further truncating.
I got the email.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I'll reduce it to 5 this time, and accept my apologies, but it ain't my fault.
Nice to know I'm in the first 6.
Yeah.
How many attendees do
You
we have
got to be
tonight?
careful grabbing them in there, but
Sorry?
There must be.
How many attendees do we have tonight?
I saw 34 at one time. We're down to 32 right now.
Okay, curious.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
does the email come through, come from DVMUG or is it under a different name?
From DVMUG membership.
Membership at dvmug.org.
Okay, because I haven't gotten anything either, so.
Huh. Well, that's distressing.
So when did you send them?
Well, I sent the letters out on the 15th. And the emails go out on the 1st.
We all renew at different times of the year, don't we?
Yes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But every month for that month, on the 1st of the month, so on the 1st of June, everybody who's expiring at the end of June, I send an email saying your dues are up this month. Then on the 15th, I send a letter. Dues are up this month. On the 1st, the following month, I will also send another email saying your dues expired last month. And I will also send another email to the people whose dues expired the month before that and saying something like, we're going to miss you. And they get lapsed. So
I see Ann Griffin's went out. Ann Griffin to Mac.com on the 1st.
yeah, I'm sending them, honest.
Yeah, you only send 3, 4, 5 at a time, but they're going out. I saw one go to Ann Griffin.
Yeah.
Can you see one for me? I had to renew last month, not this month.
Hard to tell. I got to open them up.
Yeah, we have to go to the database where I keep the record.
I think I'm looking on the membership, and I see one from Ann, but I don't see one to Chris.
So I would have been the previous month too. That would have been the.
Oh, yours got sent out on June 1st.
It would have been May 1st.
I see a June 1st email.
Look at before that.
That's the reminder. The June 1st.
I see Ann's on June 1st. Message.
Wasn't there an entry for the 1st of May?
I'm pretty sure we can sort this out later.
Yeah. True. So Lee Wagner sent me an email saying that he was interested in maybe putting something together in a cooperative way about pages, right, Lee?
Yep.
So I'm nuts about pages. I think it's a really powerful word processor and double duty as a page layout program. So if there's any interest in that, maybe we could schedule that for, what are we gonna do for July and August? Normally we have the picnic and the,
Dawn was going to contact Jason Snell. Did you do that, Dawn?
Chris, did you send me that email?
I did, yes.
When? Because
I think I sent it the evening of the board meeting that night.
Well, Dawn is going to contact Jason Snell to see if he'll do a wrap up of
next month, yeah.
WWDC for next month.
well, maybe for September, Lee can work over the summer on the pages thing.
August.
And then in October, we've got the seminar if the virus is out of the picture at that point. I'm not optimistic about that, but
I'll send him something in the next couple days.
okay. So Lee, looks like maybe September.
That would work.
Or August, because I don't believe we're going to have a film fest.
Yeah.
It
Don,
looks that way from
I
my
just sent
side.
it to you again. It should be in your inbox in.
Yeah, I see it. I got it.
Yeah, I think September would be for a big presentation so important. I think we ought to keep it September rather than August because a lot of people may not be around in August or are not interested in getting into the goodies in August.
I will be on a camping vacation in August.
Yeah. So we can work something. We'll work something out. So anyway, so what else? Anybody know any good jokes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I purchased the new iPad Pro, and it's been challenging in certain ways to get it to operate right. But the question I have is, does anybody know of a good tutorial for using the Pencil 2 with the iPad Pro? I've been looking through Google and YouTube and stuff and haven't found anything that consistently seems to be, cover the bases.
You know
What
where I
is it
think
that-
you might find something would be at Adobe in the Illustrator area.
Okay.
Now, also, maybe if you're willing to share your information, lynda.com, but you'll have to pay for it. It's not free anymore.
I think they have a 30-day free trial.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, I saw something the other day I want to watch.
I see that there, I just Googled it and I see right up top are at least 3 different YouTube tutorials. Have you looked at those?
Well, I'm not sure which ones you're looking at, but I have looked
Well-
at a couple, and
Okay.
once with one, I couldn't understand what the guy was saying. A couple of another one was kind of short, and there were certain points. Oh, that's helpful, but there wasn't anything that was really organized that seemed to hit the basics and have a way to consistent way to present it so that it would seem to work. It seems to be very different depending upon what site you're on or what application you're using or so forth. The tools get very different, and
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if the pencil is working properly. There might be an issue with it. So anyway,
Are you an Adobe subscriber?
yes, yeah. So I can.
You may find something there in their. I guess Illustrator would be maybe InDesign also, but Illustrator would be where I'd look first for some tutorials on it, specifically for the iPad.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. I have some stories I won't bore people with right now, but trying to work with Apple to get certain things operational, and it's been hit or miss.
What's been the problem with the iPad Pro?
Well, I'm still sticking to Mojave in the OS. I'm not ready to go to Catalina and lose access to some of my older apps. So I would need to do backups if I want one on my on my computer. I need to use iTunes, and I could not get the iPad to talk to the computer. It would just not connect. I had purchased 2 adapters from Apple with the thing, a multi-AV USB-C adapter that had HDMI, but also a standard USB port on it, as well as an Apple USB-C to USB adapter, and had some excellent new USB 3 cables, and hooking those directly into my iPad, nothing. And I was just going around and around and spent hours literally with Apple Tech. They finally had me send my iPad back, and they sent me a replacement one with the same issue. I finally was able to get it to communicate by purchasing a third-party cable, USB-C to USB, from Belkin, and I actually got one from Amazon. So I got two cables. Both of them worked fine. But Apple's own adapters would not talk to iTunes. Just
Here's
would
an
not connect.
adapter that I use. I don't know if you can read it or not. It's a Satechi, Satechi. It has card readers, both sides. It has Ethernet and HDMI, and it has Ethernet and a pass-through USB-C, and an HDMI and three USB connectors in it, and with a USB-C connector here. And I love this thing, but it was expensive. It was about $80.
Right. Well, when the two adapters I bought from Apple cost me more than $90, all said and told, I just send them back to Apple for a refund
Yeah.
today. But this Belkin cable works fine. So I
Good.
have that particular issue dealt with. It's just,
You know,
I
the
was
thing,
surprised. I'm
the
sorry.
thing about struggling because you're using iTunes because you're still on Mojave for other things. I
Yeah.
finally updated my Parallels desktop to the latest version, and then I created a Mojave virtual machine on my Mojave machine, which is a Mac Mini. And then then I moved all my 32-bit apps into the Mojave virtual machine, and then updated the machine to Catalina. So I run on Catalina, but I can also, have Mojave. It starts instantly, and it can run my 32-bit apps there, of which I don't use many. And so that's one way to get up to date. I don't know if that would solve your problem, but I've had no trouble since updating Catalina.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for the suggestion. I think what I'm going to do is just get a hard drive and put Catalina on it.
His video froze.
He's not frozen here.
Oh,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're still clear.
Okay. Well, at any rate, I'm going to just take a standard 3.5-inch hard drive and put Catalina on it. And
Catalina does not run well on a spinning hard drive. It's designed to run on an SSD, and it will run on a spinning hard drive, but it'll be really slow.
Oh.
Yeah, your iPad probably doesn't even know what iTunes is because it's the newer system.
Well, it's true, Rick, but according to the specs, because I was very careful to read these carefully, it was compatible with Mojave. And
okay.
Yeah, and it does work fine with the Belkin cable. Why Apple doesn't make their own USB-C to USB cable, I don't know. But at any rate, yeah.
If you decide to run Catalina on an external drive, get an external SSD, which are starting to get pretty cheap too. You can get some pretty cheap ones out there.
Yeah.
Are there any that are particularly useful with iPads? The SSDs?
The iPad Pro does support external drives. What about that little Samsung that you and John have?
Yeah, that thing's fabulous.
Yeah,
Yep.
what's that one
It's
called?
USB 3 and USB-C, and it's small and it's super fast.
Yeah, wicked fast, I understand.
Yeah, wicked fast.
What is the model number on that?
T5.
Samsung T5.
T5,
Really cool.
okay. Great, I'm writing it down.
Can't quite see it. There we are, T5. Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And thanks for the information. I didn't know that spinning hard drives were an issue for Catalina.
Yeah, I think next Monday we're going to find that Apple. I'm just guessing on here. I don't have any solid information, but I think Apple is going to abandon spinning drives next Monday.
Spinning drives are a problem with everything.
Yeah.
They're hideous. Once you get used to an SSD, it's like I want to throw rocks at them when I have to work on somebody's computer. It's like, why does this take 2.5 minutes to start up instead of 20 seconds?
I just bought an ADATA, 1 terabyte SSD. I think it was about 150. It's supposed to be wicked fast, even faster than the T5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Then there's SanDisk just came out with one that's supposed to be even slightly faster than the ADATA.
Huh. What's that you're showing us, Chris?
This is a Samsung 860 Evo. Look at the size of it. 4
Oh, yeah.
terabytes.
4 terabytes.
4 terabyte SSD.
That's a lot of data.
What is that, Chris? Which one?
It's a Samsung 860 Evo, 4
Yes.
terabyte. It's a drive. It's not
Standard
external.
2.5-inch SATA.
It's standard 2.5 inch, so you could put in a laptop or something, an older laptop, not with the NVMe connection. And
If you have a laptop and you have a spinning drive in, and
Yeah.
it takes 2.5 inches, replace it. It's
replace
easy
it with that.
and it's unbelievably fast.
Hey, you know,
Don't buy a new computer, buy a new SSD. That's the way to go.
I read the other day, and I haven't had my new 16-inch torn apart yet, but I understand that OWC and Apple both are offering replacement solid-state drives for these guys, that they're replaceable.
In the 16?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
didn't
going to
think
have
any
to
of them
take
were
the back off
replaceable
this thing
anymore.
and take a look at it and see, because
Does it have some sort of removable
well,
lid
yeah,
or something?
it looks like a memory stick, you know. If it's what I think it is, it just comes out with one screw.
Bruce? Bruce? You're muted? Let me see if I can. Bruce. Where's Bruce? There he is.
He unmuted himself and then you muted him, I think. So
No, I didn't mute him. Where's Bruce now?
$16-inch. Select your model. No, there's no internal upgrade. OWC does not have one, Rick.
Well, I read the other day that there's replacement drives. I thought it was
Wait a minute, hold on, I'm on the wrong one.
Yeah,
This is
I thought this. I'm not sure, but I thought the 16-inch had a soldered-in SSD.
I thought so too. I have
Yeah.
one, but
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
know.
opened it up yet. I'm going to take a look at it and see.
While we're talking, can I just answer Marjorie quickly? Marjorie, I just saw your email that you sent me to the club and I just replied, but just to let you know, I bought myself an iPhone SE. It's an iPhone SE, 128 gigabytes, and I'm very happy with it.
I don't know anybody who has an SE that's not happy with it.
You're muted, Marjorie, so I can't hear you.
It's got the same guts as the expensive.
Yeah, it's got an A13 CPU.
Yeah.
Bruce,
I've been asking Bruce to unmute. Okay.
I'm on mute. I'm muted. It just, for some reason, it's taking up a whole bunch of time to do anything over here. I read in the paper that the new developers conference is going to announce the RISC processor. Anybody hear anything?
ARM, yeah, ARM.
On the ARM, I'm sorry.
That's strong rumored. I don't think it's confirmed.
Well, that was a part of the presentation I had tonight, but I skipped it. But yeah, there's strong rumors that they're going to go with ARM. What is ARM? It's an advanced reduced instruction set computer. Now, you may remember when we came out with PowerPC, the PowerPC, remember the demonstration that Steve Jobs had with all the tanks around, say it was military grade and so many gigaflops that they could do because we had a RISC, R-I-S-C processor. Up till that point, they had a CISC, complex instruction set computer processor. So they rewrote all the software for RISC, reduced instruction set computers. And that begat the PowerPC era of the Mac. And then, of course, Intel responded with faster and faster chips. But now if the rumors are correct, the ARM chip has got several advantages in that it works on reduced instruction sets. It's going to probably have something like the old Rosetta that will make current software compatible for a limited period of time. And it will allow you to have a tremendously powerful processor in even a machine as light as the MacBook Air, because they draw very little current and don't get really, really hot. So that's something that they're guessing is going to be coming out in Monday, in addition to the rumors that Apple's going to be abandoning spinning disks and going completely with solid state, and also probably getting rid of these hybrid drives that they've been using. So it's maybe going to be pretty exciting next Monday. Maybe going to be boring too, but I'll bet you it's going to be exciting because there's going to be some good stuff. Initially, I think at one of our meetings, I said it's going to run from 9 o'clock. I think
10.
it's going to start at 10.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
10.
it'll start at 10 o'clock. Just go to apple.com and about 15 or 20 minutes before 10, be entertained with absolutely awful music if you're of a certain age like I am. Otherwise, you'll love it. And then they will probably be carrying it live in 1080p, maybe even 4K. So if you've got an Apple TV, like somebody who I know lives out in Brentwood, he'll be watching it on his 50-inch or 60-inch TV, whatever he's got now, right, Chris?
70.
You have a 70-inch now?
Yeah, we've got 70 in the living room.
Man, oh man.
Thing's huge.
Good Lord.
I've seen 85-inch TVs at Costco.
Wow.
Well, when this
to watch.
when this social distancing is over, I'm coming over, Chris.
Come on over. Come on over.
You probably don't have to come over. He could just probably turn it around and you can
Yeah,
see it from
get your
house.
binoculars.
Yeah, you can open a drive-in theater, put it in your garage, and park in the driveway.
Yeah, we actually moved the couch pretty close, so we're only sat like maybe 7 or 8 feet away. So we have like an IMAX experience of this 17. Movies are fantastic.
Wow.
You never need to go to a cinema.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you. Good for you. So anyway, next Monday, the 22nd, be there or be square.
So it'll be interesting to see how well Apple does on whatever platform they're using for their remote meetings with thousands or tens of thousands of participants, how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting because there's going to be an audience of none. Somebody brought his ice cream over.
Alrighty then.
But while we're here, I looked up the WordPerfect viewer. It's now available on the App Store.
Oh, great.
And there's several of them from free to cost.
Huh.
So just type in WordPerfect viewer at the App Store. You'll come up with a list of them.
I got a lot of old WordPerfect stuff still on 800K floppy disks.
I actually still have a drive.
I do too. Although I don't think it'll read 800K. It'll read 1.4.
0.4.
And all the way up to 20 megabytes. It's one of those old super drives.
Yeah.
So I think I have 2 of them. They still work. Okay. Anybody else?
I looked up on Mac sales.
Yeah.
Is the 16-inch MacBook Pro user upgradable? Short answer, no.
Okay.
Works for me. All right, well, I guess this should just about wrap it up for tonight, folks. Thanks a lot for coming. Thanks to Rick for making us a fine presentation, and have a great month, and I'll see you next time.
And we'll be back next Tuesday, 3 o'clock.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
We'll be talking about next Monday's Worldwide Developers Conference next Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh.
See you all later. Thanks
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Sure. Thanks, Don.
Hey.
Bye.
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 Bye.